TNTMTheShow presents
Talking Nerdy
December edition
with your hosts,
The Ambassador
and Pablo Gunner.
And we're here to talk nerdy to you about all the nerdy things that have happened for the month of December.
Which is going to consist of a lot of anime, the Doctor Who Joy to the World, which is a Christmas special, What If Season 3, Ranma 1/2, The Dragon Prince Season 7, Squid Games Season 2, Secret Level Episode 1 through 15, or the first season, I think. Dexter Original Sin, Creature Commandos, Episodes 1 through 5, which I think may be the first season, Nosferatu. And then, of course, we're going to talk about our merch, what our charity of the month is going to be for January. Our grade scale is 4, especially if it's streaming. It's going to be must see, must stream, check it out, and then pass. So, let's start with anime because there was still a lot of anime that we didn't cover. And this one is mainly anime that they're in their multiple season, but I didn't get to the most recent season. So I'm just going to mention essentially what these shows are about. Just summarize them essentially, but still give my grade on them. Let's talk about Skeleton Crew. Episodes 1 and 2, the premiere episodes. Like I said, they came out, I think, December 2nd and 3rd. I've already covered it on my videos. I didn't go in depth on those videos, primarily because I didn't want to spoil. And I try not to do that for like the premieres. Let's spoil it.
And needless to say, for me, I feel like this is probably one of the best things Star Wars has come out with, at least in my opinion, when it comes to the goal of what they're trying to evoke over the past, say, 2-3 years. This show about children from a different planet and they somehow get stuck in an adventure. How 80s is that?
Sony Walkman. The Sony Walkman is a tiny stereo cassette player with truly incredible sound.
The first time I watched it, I should say, I felt like I was watching The Goonies or something in the spirit of that sort of 80s kids adventure that is very rare to find these days. It was so sincere. All of the characters were so great, especially the alien boy that's with them and, you know, how he likes the girl that he likes at school. And, oh gosh, it's great. I feel like they're really, in the first 2 episodes, really priming you for a great adventure. They tie the mystery in. I feel like it's really good. That's at least how I feel about it, but, you know, Pablo, what did you think about it?
I mean, technically they're all aliens, even if they're humans. They're all
true.
really aliens. But yeah, Neil, the elephant kid, the humanoid elephant, adorable, hilarious. I just love that first episode because it just did such a good job of establishing the norm, the planet, how normal life is. Not just as a kid, you feel bored in your normal life because you see these adventures on TV and cartoons and games and everywhere, or you just imagine these crazy things, and then you're like, oh, my life is just boring. But even seeing other people like riding around on scooters and doing something, you're like, oh, that's exciting.
Straight up suburban life in Star Wars? Like,
yeah, that
how
was
have we
really
not
cool.
done this? Yeah.
Yeah, that was really neat to just have like, yeah, suburban life in Star Wars and have that as the base and then throw you deep into space and pirate space for the second episode and go, boom, you're there. To have kids go like, I'm bored with my life and I want an adventure life, and then be thrown into that life and go, maybe I didn't really want this life. But there's something in them, though, that still is like, maybe I can do this, though, right? Like, they do have that courage. They do have that going for them. They try it, and it does not go well for them. I mean, it's a pirate station. All they have as protection is their pirate bodyguard. That is a droid, which is
Greatest
awesome.
name of a droid I've ever heard.
Yes.
SM-33.
SM-33.
I see you, Disney Star Wars. I see what you're doing.
So, and it's so great, and it was so cool, and even like the end to that episode where you have this guy using the Force, and you go like, oh, is he a Jedi? Like, when does this? Because we don't know when this takes place, right? Like, we don't really know the timeline. Is it the Old Republic? Is it New Republic? Is it just the Republic? Like, we don't know.
It's definitely is pretty obscure with how it explains it. So yeah, if you're not familiar with anything, it's definitely hard to pin it down.
And they're just giving you breadcrumbs as it goes forward. But that was just such a great cliffhanger ending to have. I don't know if he's a Jedi, but he uses the Force. That was just such a great cliffhanger ending, like right to just end it right there and go boom. Now you gotta wait like another week. I waited a while to, because I could have watched it right away. Heard it was Goonies in space. I want to watch it with the kids and see how they react, because I want to see if they're really into it or not. Like, they were super into it that first episode because they saw the kids. Like, they could relate, right? Like, they could relate so much, and they saw these kids and they saw themselves. That's how that works. I switched to something else, and they lost interest, and went playing and go adventuring with that imagination that they just, that juice that they just got.
Right.
And then I tried to get them back into it 30 minutes, or not even but 30 minutes, but like a few minutes later, and they did not care until they started seeing the droid attacking people and stuff and being like, oh my gosh, what's going on, Dad? And being like, yeah, should have paid attention, you know. But they were having a good time, so it's like, it's not, I wasn't like mad or anything. I wasn't annoyed. They're kids. So it did its job, right? It sucked them back in.
Absolutely,
so it worked, right? And they were paying attention. And every time, it doesn't matter if I'm just watching it with my 2-year-old or watching it with my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old, they're into it. There may be like some parts where it wanes, but for the most part, they get sucked back in. Like, there's always moments that bring them back in. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, oh my gosh, this is intense. This is crazy, you know? That was a great premiere. I feel like this show isn't doing anything risky like Acolyte was. It's fun. They are kind of playing it easy, but it's for kids, which even the original and most of what George Lucas did was for kids. That's what he said. He's like, this is for like young teenage boys. And it still is. If you're going, well, this is weak and this is plain and this is, well, it's still following in the vein of what George Lucas was paying homage to in his stuff. It's doing right by Lucas and by Lucasfilm and the original trilogy. It's just so interesting to get this peek into the pirate side and this different part of Star Wars.
It's a different part of the universe.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing it's got going for it.
It's just, it feels like we're in a new world because we haven't ventured this world that much. Yeah. We've gotten peeks in like Clone Wars and other things, but never have we just fully delved into it. And so that's what I love about it. And that's why for me, and I think other people, especially like kids, must see, must stream.
Yes.
Tell us all about Marvel Rivals, because I haven't played. I've seen it. I've seen stuff about it. I've heard a lot about it. I don't game that much anymore.
Indeed, I've got to dip my toes into it, as they say. Marvel Rivals is a multi-platform hero shooter. So if you're familiar with games like Overwatch or Team Fortress 2, that's in the spirit of this. The idea being it's all the Marvel characters. They all have different tool sets and abilities, and it's actually a third-person shooter as opposed to a first-person. The goal is to usually accomplish an objective with your team before the other team ends up killing you and stopping you from what you want to accomplish. Since I am a seasoned Overwatch player, I feel like this is a very good and interesting game to get into. It's going to feel like Overwatch, even to the point where some people actually make fun of it because a lot of the tools that some of the characters use are very similar to some of the Overwatch characters. I feel like the flavor that they put into it is incredible. Even the unique, like Doctor Strange as a mechanic and what he has, he can teleport you around. So you want to teleport and go different places. Some games just don't do. I think they did a really great job of the flavor of everything. Every character, self-contained within the game, still feels pretty distinct. And I mean, you're playing Jeff the Shark. Like, I play Jeff the Shark a lot. And he's a healer of all things.
Okay.
And a lot of people actually find him to be one of the most annoying characters in the game because his ability is to basically eat everything. He eats his allies and his enemies. I actually love it to just spit my enemies off the map. And
nice.
It can actually bring a lot of really cool moments. It's in its early infancy, though, and that's kind of the disadvantage behind it. There's not a lot of new content. It's all brand new. A lot of the games, it's free to play, which I think is one of its great selling points right now. For some people that really are into the aesthetics, like they like to have their costumes or the way they want their character to look, that's something that's going to take a little while to build up. Like, I think a lot of people with the Wolverine costumes, they have a special one for the one from Deadpool and Wolverine that makes him look like he's from the movie, but it's like his normal costume. And a lot of people are just like, oh, well, that's how he normally looks. I don't want to spend like $10, $15 to get that. And I don't blame people. In that case, that's going to change. That's going to evolve. The competitive scene already has a lot of really famous Overwatch people involved. I feel like it's definitely giving Overwatch a run for its money. I'll always love Overwatch. Marvel Rivals is in a great place because it's going to grow, it's going to change, and new characters are coming, sure. I would actually give it a check it out at this point, just because if you don't like Marvel, you may not like it, but why are we here anyway?
Yeah.
So certainly if you're into the shooting genre, definitely look at it. I think it's got really great potential.
You said it's third person, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Is Overwatch third person as well?
No, that's first person.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
It's first person. So you can't see your character in Overwatch.
Correct, yeah.
Which seems like a dumb way to go because all those characters are insanely hot. You know, so it's why would you want to see your insanely hot character all the time? So speaking of, I have seen Squirrel Girl, and she is thick. I'm like, yes, I've seen I'm like, I want to do like a video that's like peaches, 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 you know, like with. So, and I haven't even played this game. I just seen the images, the video of her from this game, and I'm like, yeah, it's. And I've seen other edits that are different songs, you know, that are homages to her. But some of the characters just looked really ridiculous and over the top to me, to the point where I was like, this turns me off. And but I could see what it was doing too, where I was like, this is just an Overwatch knockoff. But obviously, if it's third person, that's a huge difference. You can see your character. So even if they do rip off like almost everything else, like you said, the tools and everything like that, changing that just changes it entirely. That's like making Skyrim. If you change Skyrim, you're like, okay, that changes it in a big way.
Exactly.
It's a different game now. I've wanted to check it out. What is it rated? Do you know like what it's rated?
It is rated T, I believe, at this moment, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing. Is like I try not to watch anything that's not like, 7 and up around the kids, and they're around all the time. So that's that. But yeah, that's it does sound really cool. I do want to check it out though. I really do want to check it out. It sounds really interesting. Winter Soldier. Captain America looks ridiculous to me, but he looks like the ridiculous Captain America. The comics have gone through so many different iterations that you go like, this looks like an iteration that may or may have been in the comics.
Yeah,
so
true.
you go like, okay, whatever. We've heard from the Ambassador. We've heard from Slay J. Now we want to hear from you about Mufasa.
Oh, Mufasa. I did manage to be able to attend and see that with my compatriots. I personally felt it was good, felt it was quite enjoyable. I can imagine, though, there's some people that may be turned off by it. Here's the whole thing about it. It's self-contained. If you're walking in with baggage from the live-action Lion King, this is animated better, the music is better, first of all. It just presents a very interesting prequel. This is something that's enhancing the story overall of the Lion King in a way. And I kind of looked at everyone else and I thought, man, they're basically making Mufasa a superhero. At least in the way you want to think about it in a way. But I mean, it's really just about showing why this character that everyone loves so much, that the great James Earl Jones played for years, became who he was, what his relationship with his brother was, where all that started, where the seeds of Scar's evil came from. I think that was actually a very interesting thing to explore. I feel like if you're into lore-wise, how this all works, it's definitely cool. The music, though, is the thing that always gets my attention most of the time. And I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda, if any of you all know who this gentleman is, he's basically become the new Alan Menken. He grew up idolizing him. He watched The Little Mermaid when, we were all kids, at least at that point. And he wrote all the music for this. I feel like he did a good job of it being in the spirit of the previous movie as well, trying to make sure he put his stamp on everything. I really liked the music, really liked the movie, but definitely, some people may not enjoy it if you're not into the way that Disney is sort of prequeling things out, putting all this out. It's not necessarily that original. In my opinion, check it out. You just may like it. I mean, I know I did.
I had zero interest. In it. I haven't seen much advertising for it. Like, I don't know if that's because the algorithm on my YouTube just didn't have it popping up or what, because I don't really watch TV, right? Like, yeah, I have Disney Plus and stuff, and I watch the nerdy stuff, and they never injected a advertisement for Lion King in there, and anything that I had seen of it, any snippets I had seen of it, I was like, I have no interest in this whatsoever. It seemed very confusing to me, because the more I actually saw, I was like, is this a prequel? Is this not a prequel? I don't know what this is, and that makes it more confusing. That seems dumber to me. Whereas if you just go hard prequel and that's it, like, that makes more sense to just stick with one thing and focus on it. The music thing also confused me because it's like, why would you move Lin-Manuel Miranda from Moana 2 to this instead of keeping him on Moana 2 and then have other people come in on Moana 2 that are not him when he knocked it out with Moana? And I feel like he kills everything that he does, but if it doesn't feel in the same theme and tone as what you're used to, which is the Lion King music from the 90s, I mean, if it's more in tone with the prequel, I mean, not the prequel, but the live action, then you go, okay, that makes sense if it's in line with that. I don't know who did that, but if they use that, to me, it just goes like, it makes more sense if you have the same people, right? Like if you're going, let's have the same people that did the live action Lion King do the live action Lion King prequel or whatever it is, right? That's what makes sense to me. And so those things have not been clear to me in the trailer, in reviews, people you talk to. It's very confusing, right? To get a clear idea on where this is going and what it is doing and any of that. And that's where my lack of interest is from. Because, of course, I loved the 90s movie, right?
Kind of inceptual to our childhood.
Yeah, and I liked the live action. When everyone was crapping on it, I was like, I don't get it. This isn't bad. Could it be better? Sure, but it's not bad considering it's just for a new generation. I will find out. I'll check it out when it comes out on Disney+. I'm not going to struggle to go see it in theaters with the amount of effort that I have to put into getting someone to watch my kids. And I'm not going to take my kids either, because I know there's people that are going to see those movies that are paying $15 or more to go see a movie, and then my kids are making noise, and you're like, I paid $15, $20 for this. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm not going to bring my kids to go see it, because it's not fair to those people. Shangri-La Frontier is on its second season. I watched the first season. It has a lot of episodes. I think it's a 24 season episode, so they're long. But it is a gaming anime, right? It's MMORPG gaming anime pretty much. It's this guy who he reviews bad games for a living, like that's what he does as a YouTuber. And then this girl's like, you should try a good game for once, just to, break the norm and see how you like it. He loves Shangri-La Frontier. It's an MMORPG, and it's pretty solid, it's pretty interesting. It doesn't seem like it's doing anything to break the mold too hugely for gaming animes, but it's still really solid. Like, he wears a bird head, like it's just like for visual, it's just a costume. And then he has like shorts on, which is what you come with. And he gets this curse like early on from this like wolf. So he can't wear any clothes. He can't wear any armor. Like, he does it first, but then because of that curse, he can't wear any because that's part of the curse. And then like he has these weird scars on his body. And everyone knows, and like it has like certain like debuffs and stuff. But it's really interesting. It's pretty solid. Of course, there's a girl, that's like shy, and she's playing and like has this awesome character and stuff. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty solid. I think that if you're into the gaming anime, that it's probably going to be a must-see for you because it's so well done. But if you're not, it's still worth checking out.
If my wife becomes an elementary school teacher to Sami show.
Student. And so I actually looked up the long name of this. It's not on there. It's just Suma Show is the title that's on Crunchyroll. But it is weird. So essentially it's about this couple. The wife died and then she was reincarnated. So 10 years later, she's a little girl and she shows up and she's like, hey, I just remembered that this was my house and you're my husband. And then like her daughter, the daughter that they had together is now like teenaged, or she might be like maybe college age or whatever. It's weird because like her home family is awful of this little girl. And so, like, she's sneaking out to spend time with her family, but at the same time, like, he's kind of making this relationship with this lady that's at work, but she's not super young, but she's younger. It's a weird show, dude. Like, it is just weird. It's not bad. Like, it was a little off-putting at first, but then I don't know, it's really weird. I couldn't fully get into it, but I don't dislike it or hate it. So I can't say it's a pass. It's worth checking out, especially if you're into that. Ari Furieta from Commonplace to World's Strongest. This one is kind of another gaming anime, but not entirely. Like, it just more feels like a fantasy anime. It's this guy who gets betrayed by somebody in their party. And so he ends up like falling to his death, and then this bear and like a lower level, because like the more levels you go down, because it's about like there's 100 levels in this, and the more you go down, the harder it is, right? He fell to like a really hard level, and there's this bear that bit his arm off. He bit this rabbit that was there, and then like it turned his hair white. It made him strong, and then now like, so that's kind of what he does to level up, is he like kills things and then eats it. And it like doubles his power, so it starts making him really powerful. And then he teams up with this girl, where he saves this girl that is a vampire that's imprisoned, but she looks like a little girl, so it's really weird because like he's not in love with her instantly, but like he does fall in love with her, and it's weird because she looks like a little girl, but she's a vampire, so she's technically hundreds of years old. It's weird. But then it becomes a harem anime where like people join the crew that, once again, it's like she's the youngest, and then someone joins up who's older. There's like a dragon that can transform into a human, and she's like the most busty one, and she likes being like demeaned. It's weird, dude. Like, it's weird, but it's funny, but it's gaming, but it's interesting because you kind of want him to get revenge on the people that like just left him there. Like, they're like, he's dead, and that's it. And the guy that betrayed him, like, you want it to come full circle, which I'm sure like the newer season is more in that, because I didn't fully get caught up. I liked it. Even though there's weird stuff, and like there may be points where you get turned off, and that's completely understandable. So maybe a pass for you at some point, but it was good enough, at least in the first few episodes, to continue. And like I got pretty far into it. I think I got like at least like 14 episodes. I liked it. For me personally, it's a must-see because I'm going to keep watching it probably, and hopefully eventually get caught up. If you're not into that stuff, it's still worth checking out.
Sere Ginsoki Spirit Chronicles.
This one, I feel like, is not very memorable. Automatically, like, this one is about little kids, though. I know this one, it starts in the real world, and then the guy dies, and then he goes to this fantasy world. He's poor, and I think he's, like, going to get killed, but then these girls, step in that are, like, royalty or something like that, or they have powers, and they step in to help him. In his previous life, he made this promise to this girl that, like, he would always love her and protect her, but they were little kids, right? So, like, he never got the chance to really make good on that promise. And then, so I think that girl's reincarnated in this as well, but, like, he's looking for her. This is another one that's, like, it's a fantasy, but also harem anime, but he gets more powerful, and like there's messed up stuff that happens to him. Like the royalties like trying to screw him over, try to make him look bad and do all this horrible stuff to him. So eventually he runs away, and he gets really powerful. But it's that one ends up being pretty solid. It's a really slow start. That one was kind of hard. I won't deny that I legit fell asleep watching it, because like at points it was really boring, but then it picks up later on. So that one is worth checking out. Natsume's Book of Friends. This one is this kid, he moves out to the country because his grandma passed away, and he finds out that his grandma was like this, not a witch, but like she could see spirits, and she like could fight them and stuff like that. Like she could fight the yokai and stuff. And so she had a book of the yokai that she defeated, so like she owns them. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go return them their names so they can be free. And I'm like, what, are you, an idiot? But it's super slow, and he's not fighting them. But there is like one spirit that like protects him, but it's an annoying spirit. I just didn't care for it. Like visually it looked pretty and it looked nice, but it was also very like kind of bland, and the whole thing was boring. Like that one I fell asleep to as well, like multiple times, because it was just boring. I would say that one passed. That one's a pass. I don't know how it got to multiple seasons, because I think that one's up to 7 seasons. It's boring. I don't know. It must have gotten better because it's boring.
After School Haneko-kan.
This one was so confusing because this one's like, it's like chibi characters pretty much from the get-go, and it is also kind of spirits, but it's definitely darker. It's more like there's like spells, and they're using a Ouija board, and they're kids, but they're spirits. But it was so confusing because they just throw you into the thick of it that I was like, I can't get into this. I have no idea what's going on, and this is so stupid. So that one I'm going to say is a pass. Visually, it looks great, though. Kamarabi God.app. This one is intriguing. It looked phenomenal from the get-go. This kid, he's in high school. He gets this message on his phone. It's like, oh, hey, you can have any dream come true. Make any wish you want. It'll come true. You become a god or something like that. I don't know. That one was slightly confusing, too. But then, like, the next day at school, he's like, oh, like what? Like, hook up with this girl? This girl that he does kind of hook up with her, but then she tries to kill him because she got the same message. And apparently, like, you have to kill people that got the same message so that you can be the one that becomes a god or something like that. So it's intriguing. I only watched a few episodes, but the few that I watched, he out of nowhere, like, had this spell book and, like, used a spell on her and defeated her, but then she was still alive the next day. But he won against her, at least. So, like, it was interesting. So I think it's definitely worth checking out.
Dan to Dan. We'll just do a review of the whole season since it's finished now.
Is it? Because it left on like I was like, there's no way it's over, like the way that it ended.
Yeah, but it's been renewed, so that's good at least.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy anime all the way through.
It is.
It's interesting that we're finally starting to see more of the alien threats. A lot more. Because I noticed like the first part of the season was mostly demonic threats. But now the aliens side of things is happening. It's really interesting how they kind of created that love triangle now where her best friend that she has no feelings for is staying with them because they need to help him with his
like exercise his house.
Exercise his house like a haunted house. They're trying to do that, but the whole time they both really like her and are trying to impress her, but she just doesn't see either of them in that light.
I don't know, because I think she actually does see Okarun that way.
Kind of leans that way, but not quite.
Not fully.
Yeah.
Not fully, right?
But the other guy, not one bit.
I don't know, though. I think she does see him way more as a friend, especially because childhood friend. Like, it's way harder for her to see him that way. But he's totally into her, so he's trying to get her that way. So you really have, like, two love triangles going on opposite ends. You know what I mean? Like, one's for Okarun and then one is for her. I like it. It's a blast through and through. And even when, like, there's somewhere you're like, this is just a one-off, but it's hilarious. And you're like, I'm kind of bummed it was a one-off. But it can't be that easy to find his ball, you know?
Yeah.
But it's so interesting. And the way that they left it, I was like, there's no way this is the end of the season because it feels like it's the middle of a season. They didn't really like leave it on a cliffhanger, you know what I mean? Like, it is but it isn't, but you're just like, how are you going to leave it there? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's probably just where the manga ended. They're staying true to the manga. And a lot of times with anime, if it's a newer manga that's being released, they really can't go much further than what's there.
Right.
Or if it is, they don't want to do too much at once if it's still ongoing. Because if you do that, you have the threat of actually, like, surpassing the series. Anyone who's seen Game of Thrones sees how great it can be sometimes surpassing the source material.
I think that's happened with anime as well, right? Like, didn't that happen with Naruto? And that's why, like, there's so much filler episodes or something like that? Or Naruto's just written that way, too. I don't know.
I think it's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because those are kind of...
I think early on that was a huge issue where, like, they were animating faster. Like, they were getting the anime out faster than the manga. And so, like, they had to add a lot of filler and stuff. And it was, like, and it lowered the quality of the anime. Yeah, and you definitely don't want that. It makes sense why there's huge gaps between seasons.
Well, sometimes. But then there's, like, Devil's a Part-Timer where it's almost a decade between season 1 and 2.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But anyways, this anime, I think, is the best anime of this season by far and large. Like, easily beats everything else. Everything else that we've talked about over the last few months, this is easily the best one. My wife loves it. I love it. Everyone that I talk to loves it. Like, it is just a blast through and through. So for me, it's definitely a must-see, and for a lot of other people that I've talked to.
It's not my favorite one of the new ones that came out, but it's still a must-see and worth watching and something I was looking forward to.
Dragon Ball Daima finally getting good. You have Goku and he's busting out the moves and he's fighting like one of these things to get this Dragon Ball, and it's getting pretty epic and it gets pretty awesome. He gets to Super Saiyan 2, spoiler alert. It's pretty awesome, and then Vegeta's putting in work too. I have not seen the most recent episode, but I do know that Vegeta goes Super Saiyan 3 and people are like losing their minds, and I'm like, I think it's cool. I think he can only achieve Super Saiyan 3 because he's in like a spirit realm, kind of, because it's in the demon world. So that's why he's able, because before, like, Goku could only achieve Super Saiyan 3 because he was dead, right? Like, he was a spirit in the spirit. Like, that's the only way you could achieve it. There was no other way. Except I think he did achieve it in Super, maybe when he was fighting Beerus. So, but anyways, I don't know. They make up their own rules, right? Like, that's the whole point of writing. So it's cool. It's pretty awesome. I was watching it earlier today, and it's getting good. It's starting to finally get good. Considering that it's gotten better, it's a must-see, and I heard the English is coming out soon, the dubbed. For me, even if you're watching by episode, it's gotten so good. It's been a slow progression, but now it's, like, super good. It's a must-see for me.
Doctor Who, Joy to the World.
Which is the Christmas special. I loved it. It was more slow. It wasn't super intense. There were intense moments, but for the most part, it was kind of slow, and it was more... And what's weird is it didn't even really focus on the Christmas aspect very much either. As a Christmas special, it wasn't really, but as a Doctor Who special, like, it did feel good. And it just felt like a long episode of Doctor Who. And I liked it. It's mainly like the girl from Bridgerton, Penelope, I think. And I love her in that show. Like, she's my favorite character in that show. I love her, and she's gorgeous. And she kills it in this show. And she's blonde in this show. And, like, her story was just so heartfelt. And, like, it's a tearjerker. And once again, we have the writer that does this. What's his name?
Russell T. Davies.
Russell T. Davies, where the science or, like, whatever is not strong, but the heart is. Like, it's well written, but, like, when you go, like, that doesn't really make sense, but it's a tearjerker. Like, there were multiple times where I was, like, tearing up, and especially by the end. Like, it's solid in that sense. Like I said, as far as a Christmas special, kind of weak as that goes, I'm not even comparing it to other Christmas specials. I'm just saying, like, it didn't really feel that Christmassy, but it was really good. Like, he ends up spending a year with this lady that runs this hotel, like, she's the front desk person, and he has to rent this room for a whole year, and so he has to stay in one place for a year, and he has, like, a really good relationship with this lady, like, built over a year, and it's really nice, and it's really beautiful. And then just like that other girl, like I said, plays Penelope in Bridgerton, like, that whole thing was really, like, intense, and that was kind of cool because they ended up in the Jurassic era. That was kind of cool, but, like, it ended up being pretty solid. I ended up enjoying it. Like, for me, I really enjoyed this Doctor. I really enjoyed this episode. For me, it was a must-see because I just loved it. And, like, if you can tug at my heartstrings, I'm all about that. I can't understand where people would think it's weak, but I think if you're a Doctor Who fan, it's at least worth checking out. And if you like this writer, I think it's going to be a must-see.
What If, Season 3, Episodes 1 through 8.
Which I'm pretty sure is the entire season. I kind of want to go through this episode by episode, which is, first episode, it is kind of like a mech Godzilla. Not anime, because that's the thing is, the animation through this is consistently phenomenal. And it's the same, like, from the other seasons, right?
I thought it was way too stiff in the first season.
Well, it's a first season, but
did it get less stiff? Because it was ridiculously stiff.
I didn't really notice that in this. I feel like it's improved. The first episode it's mech and Godzilla, right? Like, the Avengers, but it's like their own team Avengers, because it's Captain America, the new Captain America. It is Monica Rambeau, which I don't think they still gave her, like, a code name. I'm not sure. But she was wearing her outfit and stuff. And there's some of the other ones. And they're in mechs. And the idea is that kind of follows the old 70s show story where he tried to separate the Hulk from himself. But in this, he created Abomination. And then Abomination became like a Godzilla that could replicate himself, and so they had to create mechs to defeat the army of Abomination replicas. And they weren't really replicas because they weren't as strong, but that's what it was. And so it ends up turning into, like, Sam having to go to Bruce and be like, dude, we can't defeat this unless you help us. Like, we know, like, you found your peace and stuff, and that's great, but, like, we really can't do it without you. And he does give him, like, a weapon, you know, and he comes in, like, clutch at the end and stuff, and he turns himself into a giant, you know, like, Godzilla Hulk, and then just goes into the ocean like Godzilla, you know, with his little army. So it has, like, a nice bow on it, and it ended up being, like, about the heart of Sam. Like, ended up being about, like, him. And that was a solid, like, the story was kind of weak, but the character strength of Sam was there, and that was good. But it ended up being okay. It's worth checking out. The next episode, I'm trying to even think what it was about, but because I feel like it was super weak. I don't know. There's so many of these episodes that are just either they totally suck or it's really solid. Like, that one I thought was really solid, but the second one was like, I don't even remember what it was. There was one where it was Howard the Duck and Darcy had a kid, but it was an egg, and it was a cosmic egg, so everybody is chasing them to get this cosmic egg that wants power. And it legitimately felt like the writers the writer's room was like, so if they have a kid and everybody wants this egg and it has cosmic power, so these people steal it. And then these people steal it from them. And then we end up here because these people stole it. And, like, they're just jumping. And it was such a clusterfuck that I was like, this is total shit. This is a total shit fiesta. And I fucking hate this, and I'm so glad that What If is over. Actually, that wasn't the episode where I was glad What If was over. This is reminding me the episode where I said I'm glad What If is over. Agatha Harkness goes to Hollywood. This is the episode was just a giant steaming pile of shit. Because, for whatever reason, Howard Stark becomes a director instead of an inventor. But, of course, because he's an inventor, he can make, like, great tech with, you know, being a Hollywood director and running the show and business, whatever. So stupid, but she's the star, and they're doing this grand thing. The only good thing about it was that they bring Kango into it, because he's hilarious. And they're like, she's been stealing the power from all the Eternals. Doesn't make sense. Stupid, whatever. They don't really explain it. They don't explain most of it, which is why this is so stupid and horrible. Yeah, there are funny parts, and like I said, Kango was great. And then, like, they fight, she turns into a Celestial, and they fight a Celestial, and it was just so stupid. I was like, oh my god, can we just end it after this episode? Because this is so bad, I don't want to see more. But there were episodes that were solid. Like, I feel like they just get blotted out, though, because there's so much bad. You really felt like this season was missing chunks. Like, they cut pieces out and went like, we don't have enough money, or we can't put that many episodes in this season, so we're just going to cut them out. Because in the finale, they had Peggy Carter show up, and I thought Sam was going to come in with his mech. Didn't do that. That would have been really cool. And so it was just Peggy Carter, the grown-up version of Birdie. They just call her Birdie, right? Which is Darcy's and Howard the Duck's kid. And she was voiced great. Like, the voicing was great. I was like, who voices this? Because this is killer. Like, I love her accent or whatever she's doing. Like, I love her personality. Like, the character was great, but I was like, it literally took me the entire episode, actually 2 episodes, because it's a 2-episode, like, finale, to figure out that she was that character that was the baby that was finally born at the end of that one crap episode. And that finale was cool, because, like, Uatu has been breaking the rules this entire time, and the other Watchers are like, you keep breaking the rules, we need to kill you because you're breaking the rules. And so he gives the power of the Watchers to the people that he's liked the most, essentially, and they save him, and they become Watchers themselves, and that was epic, and that was cool. But they were so much, because Storm was part of it, and she had Mjolnir, but they didn't explain any of her backstory at all, and you're like, couldn't you have had, like, one episode about her, and, like, one, at least a smidgen explaining Birdie, like, how she became this adult? Like, you didn't explain, it. Like I said, it was such a mess. Oh, there was a Shang-Chi Hawkeye in the Wild West episode. That one was really good. That one I liked a lot. But there were so many of them, the bad ones are so bad that it just soured so much of this season for me that I would say pick and choose the episodes. First one really good. Shang-Chi one. That one I feel like is a must-see. The finale episodes, I feel like those ones are worth checking out. But there's so much of it that it's just a mess, dude. And yeah, I am kind of glad that we had What If, but they didn't stick to the What If of the comics, which was the most intriguing idea of this whole concept. Instead, they went with What If of Marvel. And what's interesting is, like, it would be more interesting if you made some of those concepts, they would be more interesting as movies because they could actually do them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, why not just do them? Like, this is such an interesting concept.
I don't know why they feel like they have to limit themselves to the MCU.
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry about it. Just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you want to throw in Blade, throw in Blade.
Yeah.
And even get Wesley Snipes to voice him or whatnot.
That would be great.
Just like any... Because reality-wise, you don't have to stick with the MCU with this.
Mm.
It's not even canon.
Right.
So have fun with it and get old IPs and have fun with them.
Oh, sorry. There was a Riri Williams episode. She was really good, and the idea was okay. That one was so lukewarm that I was just like, I feel like you wasted such a great opportunity with Riri to make like it was too weak to be good, and I wanted it to be good so bad because like the character was good. There's a lot of this too in this season where the characters, it just comes down to dig deep. Which in anime, I don't know why in anime it works, like it's fine, and it makes sense, but like it just doesn't work because you're like, this is a real world, so when it's just like, no, you just gotta dig deep to beat this person, and you're like, that's kind of stupid. Overall as a season, I would say pick and choose, and I already said the ones, so, but,
like,
I mean, I liked what they did. I liked the concept of the Watchers turning on Uatu the Watcher, because he was kind of doing the good thing, and I liked how it ended. But it was just, the writing was just so weak. It was like every other episode was really bad or okay or really great. And it was just like, what is going on? Like, there's no consistency here whatsoever. Even in the voice acting. Like, some of the voice actors are the voice actors that are played in the MCU. Some of them aren't. Some of them, and when they aren't, it throws me off because it doesn't sound anything like them. And I'm like, this is awful. You can't put out an ad for impersonators? Really? Oh my god! You're Disney! This is Marvel! Like, come on! It's stupid. It's stupid. Let's just move on. I'm tired of talking about this. Ranma 1/2.
Oh, Ranma 1/2 got really good. Luckily, there is going to be a season 2. They've already confirmed that because the first season ended abruptly. But that's kind of just how it is with a lot of these animes. It was great. They finally brought in Shampoo. She cracks me up so much because Shampoo is a Chinese Amazon warrior. Basically, she's trying to kill the girl version of Ranma because the girl version beat her up. But then he beat her up as the guy version. So now she thinks that she needs to marry him.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they're dealing with that whole ordeal. Akane's not really liking Shampoo showing up at all. Adds some friction there, and then of course Ryoga still being Ryoga. It's a really well done remake, and they're bringing in the characters as quickly as they can, but there's only so fast you can do it because there's so much development between the different characters that do come in. Yeah, you just find out like later on, a lot of people were screwed over by the Saotomi's training in Josinko because so many people followed them there for one reason or another and got cursed as well.
Oh, okay.
So if you're into Ranma 1/2, it is a must-see. If you're more casual, I would still check it out.
Yeah, I agree, because like I'm not super into it, but I think it's worth checking out. The Dragon Prince Season 7, which feels like it could be the end of the show, but it doesn't have to be, because it was epic. Like, they pull out all the stops. It's epic. It's phenomenal. This is one of the most well-done kids shows. My kids absolutely love this show. Like, they are just so drawn in. They're so sucked in every time.
Yeah, Bait cracks me up all the time in the show.
I like how there's now 3 of them, essentially. Yeah. There's Sneeze and Hat, or Sneasels and Hat. But yeah, like, there's all kinds of dragons. There's so much fantasy stuff. And I just go like, man, the writers of this really took their time. They really put their heart and soul into this.
What I like about it is they have variation of elves in this. Mm-hmm. You got like the earth elves, the sun elves, the moon elves, the celestial elves. And it's crazy to see all of them. And then sometimes certain elves do trade-offs to be able to get power. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to see what they have to do to be able to maintain that type of power they have.
Yeah, I mean, even the dragons, like, there's so many different kinds of dragons. They look so epic and awesome, different ones. And there's a lot of sad parts in this and messed up stuff happening, but they do such a good job of it. I don't feel like it's not going to damage kids, but kids understand it. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of felt like the way that X-Men was for us as kids. You know what I mean? Where it was like, it didn't feel like it was written for kids, but we got it.
Well, it's by the same creative team that did Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, really?
Series.
Okay. So I just love how much attention to detail, how much, like, the world building, character building, everything is just so well done in this. And you can really see that they really put so much into this.
And it's crazy, like, how frustrating it is with Claudia. Because Claudia just doesn't get it whatsoever. Everyone is trying to explain to her, no, don't go this route. It's a terrible idea. Even her lover elf is like, no, you shouldn't go that way. Even her father, which is the sole reason she's trying to do it all, is it keeps going, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
But then she gets she doesn't want to admit it, but she gets overwhelmed with power and power hungry. And that's the real reason. It started out as a selfless act and turned into greed.
Well, one thing that is very intriguing to me is Arvos really, I feel like he is justified in his revenge and his anger and his hate, because it's like, you took his daughter away. Look, here's the thing, God forbid anything happened to my kids, but the world will burn if anyone is at fault for it. Like, I will go to no lengths. I completely get that character. I also see the wrong of it too. Like, I can understand both sides, you know, where it's like, he deserves a certain level of justice because he did not get it. So we might see in 7 years, because it's like they ended it in a way where they're like, he could come back in 7 years, maybe, if certain things fall in place and work out. So I don't know if they're going to do a series like 7 years forward, or if they're going to legitimately wait 7 years to put it out, which would be interesting and crazy. Or if they're just going to be like, it'll come out in a few years, but it's going to be, because it will take time to come up with this story anyways, you know what I mean? And it probably everyone will be older, they might have their own kids, you know, they probably will have their own kids. And so I would love to see that.
I mean, they did that with the Twin Peaks series.
So
it came out in 1990, and then, like, 10 years ago, they did a third season.
Did they intend that from the beginning, though?
No, they didn't.
Okay. See, and I feel like this would be intentional. But this is also like fantasy. These are not like the real because that's live action show, right?
Yeah.
So it's a whole different ball game. And then of course, like, the voice actors, they might have to be replaced, or they would just do an adult sounding version of their characters. The kids love it. I love it. I can't imagine anyone hating this show or disliking this show for any reason. It's absolutely phenomenally well done and visually mind-blowing. Everything about this, I think, is absolutely gold. I mean, maybe if you hate fantasy, you're not into fantasy, but even so, I still feel like everything's so well done. It's a must-see.
Yeah, it's a must-see for me as well.
On Netflix.
Squid Game Season 2. That released day after Christmas. Little bit of distaste for that. I mean, right after Christmas. Because if you've watched the first season of Squid Game, you know, it's pretty violent and crazy. This one's really interesting because the main character from the previous game is trying to stop the games from happening. So he's trying to figure out if they're going to happen again, when they're going to happen, and also try to, like, capture and interrogate people. And so the loan shark that's going after him in the first season, he owns the loan shark now.
Wow.
And he's using them to try to find members of the secret society that's running the games. He has some really smart, intelligent plans, but the hard part about those plans is you're going up against an organization with a lot of smart people within it. He keeps trying to do all the different plans, and they finally get to the last plan, which has him going back and competing again.
Okay. Okay.
But this time, the first game is the same, but after that, it's all completely different to change it up. And so even he has to be prepared. Yeah, It ended on a pretty huge cliffhanger. Well, I would say it's a big reveal, but I feel like it wasn't too big of a reveal of one of the characters' motives. It was all hinted at from the beginning of when the game started that something was off with this character, and you start seeing it more and more and then realize what's going on. And so while he's competing in the games, you have a whole team of like ex-military people trying to find the island that it's at to rescue him. Yeah, I'd say it's a must-see. Fortunately, it does end on a really huge cliffhanger, so it feels more like a half a season than a full season.
Yeah.
But if you like the original, you'll like this one.
Okay. That makes sense. I heard about it, watched it, and I was like, I hate everyone in this show. And when I watch shows like that, I cannot watch them because I'm like, I'm not rooting for anyone, so I have no motivation to watch this. So, but if you're into the show, sounds like this one's for you. Let's move on to Secret Level. And this one is, like I said, I think it was the first season, and it is on Amazon Prime Video. This one... Oh my god, dude. I watched the first episode and it's animated, and I feel like it's animated like the similar style all the way through. Not exactly, considering that it's different gaming properties, and that's what it is. It is based off of gaming properties. And like the first one is Dungeons and Dragons. I've never actually played it myself. I would love to. Hopefully we'll have the opportunity someday. I was like teared up, dude, like by the end of it, because it was just so intense and so good, and I was like, I need to play this because this is phenomenal. And I know there's the new game too, the Baldur's Gate, I think, right? That's Dungeons and Dragons related?
Well, most RPGs are Dungeons and Dragons based in one way or another, even Skyrim.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was so beautiful. I don't think there was a bad episode in the bunch. It just was kind of like some are way... And it also depends on your connection to it, right? Like there was a Warhammer one, and I've never played Warhammer. I've never experienced any kind of Warhammer. I know of Warhammer. I've heard of it. I have friends that enjoy it in multiple ways, like the games or the tabletop games or the video games. That was so dark and messed up. I was like, I feel like I need a shower with a hard scrub because it was so messed up. All the blood and guts that might be left on my clothes. But, because it was bloody and gory. There's a Pac-Man one that is really dark and really messed up. Like, essentially, it's about eat or be eaten is what it is. And it's like this character that kind of looks like Abe the... whatever that alien was or whatever.
Oh, from Oddworld?
Oddworld, yes. Kind of looks like him. So he's like killing these monsters just to stay alive, and then he eats them to survive. And essentially it's just bigger and bigger monsters, kind of. But there's this orb that's leading them, and they're essentially just trying to get out, but using this person to get them out. And it ends up being like Pac, but it's a woman, so it's like, well, is it Miss Pac-Man then? But yeah, and you see it like turn into the Pac. I don't know. It was really intriguing, and I think they're doing a game that's, I don't know, like I think that was supposed to be like kind of like a teaser into this new game that I'm hearing about that's going to be Pac-Man that has something to do with that. There's a lot of episodes that are really, really strong. Games that are on PC that I've never even heard of, I've never even played, but the episodes were like so phenomenal that I was like, oh my god, I need to know what this is, because this is absolutely superb. There's so much stuff that on there, like you are robbing yourself, and you're an idiot if you've ever played any games, especially in like the 90s or 2000s era, because that's what most of this stuff is from, and they just absolutely blow it away. But even from like a standpoint of just watching something for pure entertainment, you'll be like blown away. Like you just be an idiot to not watch this stuff. So it's a must-see, must-stream, and you're a moron if you don't.
Dexter, Original Sin. I initially had zero desire to watch it, to be honest, because New Blood was good, but I was like, you know what? Just leave it there. You did a little bit of redemption of the crappy ending of the original series. Just leave it at that and call it done. But no, they decided to continue with it, and to my surprise, it's been really solid and well done. The part I didn't expect is, right when you start the episode immediately, you realize this is actually a continuation of New Blood, where if you know what happened to Dexter at the end of that, well, if he's not dead, what are you going to do with him? basically, is what happens.
Mm.
And so, because he's pretty much close to dying, Original Sin is just him remembering his life.
Oh, okay.
And so you get to see some of the different origins. You get to see Dexter when he's first starting to be doing his kills, where he's very amateur about it and having to learn it. And you kind of see where he improves upon and how he gets ideas for the methods that you see in the original series. There's flashbacks of his father, even younger, where it shows his father and his relationship with Dexter, and you realize that even before the tragedy that happened with Dexter, there was already a connection there between him and his dad. So far, I would give it a must-see. It's not over yet. I believe we're 5 episodes in right now.
Okay.
And it's been glorious. If you like Dexter, the original series, and New Blood, I strongly recommend it, and it is a must-see. But if you haven't really watched any of that, I feel it wouldn't be as good, but you could still check it out.
The reason I haven't watched it is every time I see a preview for it, it just looks like a cheap knockoff of Dexter. Like they're doing a prequel. Like all the actors that I see that are the young versions, whether it be Harry's dad, like I like that actor, but I'm like, as Harry's dad, I hate him. And I haven't even seen it yet. But I'm like, how is this the right guy, the right fit? All the young versions of everyone in in the department seems super annoying to me. And I'm just like, I really like the way they ended it, and I really don't want this to ruin it for me. But I'm hearing good things, so maybe I'll check it out. Cool, I'm going to talk about Creature Commandos. I've heard that it got picked up for a second season. I don't know why it would only be 5 episodes, but whatever. They were phenomenal. It looks phenomenal. It is just Suicide Squad 3, essentially, but as a show. But I like it so much better because each episode focuses on each member that's a creature commando. My wife's like, what is it about? And I'm like, commandos that are creatures? And she's like, I hate you. But anyways, it is written by James Gunn. There's even a part where it's him typing it up. It says written in blah 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 by James Gunn. And I'm like, the ego on this guy, but he's killing it, dude. He's knocking it out of the park. He made even Weasel seem like a character, not that you like or care for, but you're sympathetic about. Because you're like, wow, that was messed up. And a lot of these characters are like that. They tell their backstories and you're like, that's really messed up. And you're like, some of them you care for more than others, but overall it's really good.
Even in the Suicide Squad movie,
he made
you actually care about King Shark.
Rick Flag, right? I was like, he's a cool character in this. There was so much that they made cool. What's his name? Bloodsport or whatever it was. I was like, he's cool. Yeah, he made that pretty awesome. I'm not saying it was the greatest thing ever, but you're also dealing with these characters that are like, who are these people? Why? Considering that he did it, how he did it, with the time that he did it, it was not awesome. And so this is how you do animated. Once again, DC is destroying Marvel animated. In the 90s it was different, but now it's a whole different ballgame, right?
In the 90s they were kind of
very competitive. Yeah, it was very competitive. It was. But DC for a long time has been kicking Marvel's butt for animation for a good while. But you have seen DC wane a little bit as Marvel has weakened too. So you see and that's why everything needs to be high quality, because the competition will make the quality better. And so I think that's why I also think that DC is going to be taking the reins for the probably next 10 years at least. If not 20. We'll see. But I have high hopes based off this and based off the Superman trailer. We'll see. But yeah, I give it a must-see, must-stream. Yeah, it's dark, it's messed up. I can't watch it around my kids, so of course it's only for adults. But for adults, it is messed up, it's gritty. It's dark, but it's phenomenally well done because it is character-focused and based in the writing's just top-notch.
Today, I actually got to see a movie that came out on Christmas. Nosferatu, which is a very interesting movie. It's Roger Edgar making the movie. He doing a remake of a 1920s silent film. Made the original movie. They wanted to do a Dracula story. Dracula was copyrighted at that time, especially the book. So you would have had to get copyright permissions and they couldn't do it. They changed it up enough so that they could do their own thing. And it's phenomenal, and from what I understand, like the original and the new one pretty much follow the story identical, but the visuals are so good in this movie. And one of the coolest things they do is with the villain, Count Olaf. He basically, for most of the movie, you never really actually see him. It's all like shadowy figured. So when you watch the previews, you're thinking it's like potentially a black and white movie. When really, no, it's just the way it's set up. It's just a very dark gothic setting. And it's very like traditional gothic. But it is in color. It's just a lot of the stuff they're showing in the trailer happens at nighttime, so you really can't tell that it's color. It has so many good twists in there, and all the actors are phenomenal. And I forgot he was in this movie till his character showed up. I was like, oh my god, it's William Dafoe! William Dafoe's character was so awesome and perfect. I think William Dafoe was the perfect actor for that supporting character. He's basically their medical / demonologist expert guy. So he has a few screws loose.
Okay.
But he really does know what he's talking about. And so while the whole time the vampire stuff is going on, there's this weird version of the Black Plague going on as well. And you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. I don't want to give too many details about this because it's just such a good movie and it's something that you should watch for yourself. Whatever you do not watch it with kids. It's a really dark, messed up movie. There's gore. There is some nudity in there as well. The way it ends is just so satisfying, even though it is like a depressing ending. But it works so well. The only rating I can give this movie is a must-see. And it is definitely going to be considered like for one of the top movies of 2024 in my eyes.
Yeah, must buy to go see it in theaters. I have heard nothing but good things. I know my wife really wanted to go see it too.
Since we did just pass Christmas, I did watch a Christmas special. The Sabrina Carpenter No Nonsense Christmas.
Okay.
It was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because I always forget that Sabrina Carpenter, this is where it can get a little nerdy, she's actually a child actor.
Oh, okay.
She was in the sequel to Boy Meets World. She was in Girl Meets World, and a lot of people are nostalgia of TGIF. Yeah, so she was so she did her own, Netflix paid her to do her own Christmas special. There's a lot of singing, so if you like music, it's fun. But what surprised me was such random cameos. It was great. Famous country star singer, she shows up, and I was just like, no way, did you really get that person? And then you see her like, whoa, I haven't even seen this person like perform in like over a decade. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just going to say she still looks fabulous.
Okay.
The first cameo. But then she has some rappers and other people show up as well. And then if you like Lord of the Rings, you might recognize Samwise Gamgee as a guy pretending to be Santa to try to hook up with girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would say it's worth checking out.
Okay.
But I don't think it's like a must see or anything.
Yeah.
And it is Sabrina Carpenter, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So you probably shouldn't watch it with the family unless they're like teenager or older.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to watch it, but my kids are always around, so I was like, yeah. I did watch the Super/Man, Christopher Reeves. I don't know if you can specifically call it Christopher Reeves. It is mainly focused on him, but I feel like it's his whole family. It's a tearjerker. It's phenomenal. I absolutely loved it, and it's a must-see. It is on Max, and yeah, I was crying like so many times throughout that movie. It's a tearjerker. So yeah, must-see, must-stream for that one.
What did you think of the Superman trailer that dropped?
So, I loved it. This seems like anything, different from anything they've ever done. It feels like it takes place in a world completely different than anything they've ever done as well. Even though this costume is a little cheesy, I hope it's kind of going to be a progression of the costume too. Because I'm sure like the actor himself will probably get more jacked as time goes on to like kind of look more jacked. And then maybe his costume might change designs, you know. I'm not saying where he's not going to get to Cavill mode, you know, and style. But still, you know.
Yeah, I thought the suit looked a little goofy, but Crypto looked great. When you see him as Clark Kent, yeah, it's the goofy Gen Z, weird, awkward hair. But it kind of fits. But as you see more and more shots of him as Clark, you're like, wow, they really captured like Clark Kent really well. I'm curious to see how well they're going to do with this. And then Lois Lane, no complaints for me. I think they did a spot-on casting just from the appearance. And since it was a teaser, we can't really say much about it. It just looks promising.
I just got the feeling that maybe, like, obviously we're going to know I feel like Lois is going to know that Clark is Superman by the end. If she doesn't already know from the beginning. Because it looks like she already might know. Like, they might be far enough to where, like, they're already a thing. Or maybe they're not a thing, but she knows. And, like, there's Green Lantern. He looked perfect. Hawkgirl looked perfect. Mr. Terrific looked perfect. And I feel like this is a world that's lived in with these heroes. Like, very much. There's monsters. It looks very much Action Comics to me. Not just Superman, but... And I would have liked if they would have called it Action Comics more, but, you know, I'm a comic book nerd. So, I just feel like those things alone speaks volumes to me that this is different from anything. And then Crypto, like, is the cherry on top to go, this is very different. This is silly, goofy, fun, and it's not trying to be... Definitely not Schneider.
Yeah, it feels like I always thought James Gunn doing Superman was a weird choice because he really doesn't like fit the mold. But it seems like from the trailer and everything he said so far, it seems like he does have a good idea of who Superman is. I can't say it's a must-see from this, but I'm still going to be there on day one to watch this.
For sure. That is it for us. Obviously, we have our merch here, new merch. I got my Talking to Me Sonic tee right here, and then we have Knuckles, we got
Shadow,
Tails, Shadow. I kind of wish I would have gotten Shadow because that one looks the coolest, but I was like, it's Sonic. It's Sonic.
But
you know.
I think this was by Keanu Reeves in the movie.
I know.
And it was so perfect.
I haven't seen it. Otherwise, I probably would have gotten the Shadow.
If you've played Sonic Adventure 2,
yeah,
they pretty much pulled the whole story from Sonic Adventure 2.
Okay.
I recommend it, but I got a pretty awesome shirt here. I got a Nerve shirt. It's an anime base from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Either you know it from the original series or you know it from the rebuild. Doesn't really matter which one. They're both really great to watch and do recommend checking out either one of those.
Yeah, we have a lot of other anime merch on our site. Dragon Ball Z, stuff like that.
We got a cool looking One Piece Talk Nerdy to Me shirt.
Yeah, and then, of course, all the stuff that came out this month. Lord of the Rings, Sonic, Doctor Who.
You can check that out by going to TNTMTheShow.com and clicking on the store.
Yes.
And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss one of our videos.
Our charity for the month for January is going to be Red Cross, as it is Blood Donation Month.
Yeah, which seems to be like a pattern within a lot of what we reviewed, too.
Right.
With like Nosferatu, Dexter, and some of the other gory stuff you'd mentioned.
That's it for us. Talk nerdy to me.
Stay nerdy, Planet Earth.